we're on day 3 of our 5-day challenge. Today is a glute focus exercise. Day 1 was lower body, day 2 was upper body. So today is a glute base, and we're gonna do core every day. So you're gonna start off with a mini band above and below your knees. If you wanna make it a little harder, this band can move down to your ankles. And we're just gonna do some lateral walks. We'll just do 2 on each side. What you wanna think about is sort of pushing off with that back foot. You're pushing off and you're leading with that working leg. And keep your core in. You want to ensure that the whole time your knees are not allowed to cave. So we're always actively pushing out against the band. I like to turn my toes slightly out just to activate that glute medius a little more. And when your legs are coming in, you're taking that step in, you want to make sure you do it slowly to work those eccentrics. You should start feeling a burn. I would do 10 reps on each side, or go until you feel the burn, and then do 5 more on each side. An option is to also keep going, to walk all the way across the room and then walk all the way back. We want to make sure we work multi-directional, right? So a lot of times we're doing exercises front and back. We want to make sure we're also doing side to side. This is good for sports and life in general. And then we'll incorporate some rotational exercises before the 5 days are up as well. Do 3 sets of these. Good. So the second move is going to be a hip thrust. You can use a bench. If you don't have a bench, you can actually even use the edge of your couch. So you want to position your shoulder blades kind of right above where the bench sits. And then we're going to do single leg. So your shin should be perpendicular to the ground when you're up at the top. So you're just going to use your glutes, kind of press on them to turn them on, to thrust up to the top. Get about 10 reps. Squeeze, pause at the top. If 10 reps is too easy, it should be maybe a perceived 8 out of 10 exertion, where 10 is the hardest and you're going to failure. You can add on a weight. So it would just look like this. This can also be done from the ground as just a single leg glute bridge. We just use our shoulders elevated to get a bigger range of motion. And then do 3 sets on each side. Okay, so the third exercise is, we'll call it a sliding lateral lunge. I don't know what they're called. You can use these sliders or furniture sliders. You can get these at Amazon, or you can just wear a sock. So we're gonna start off, just choose one leg to start on, and always start on the same leg. That's how you're gonna remember, or that's how I remember. So we're just gonna slide down. And then you might notice that your range of motion is small at first. That's totally fine. And then over time, as your body gets used to it, you can increase your range of motion. This is good for working on your hip, knee, and ankle mobility. So go ahead and do 10 reps or 12. Then if you need to, go ahead and add on a weight. What I like to do is just carry a single dumbbell and hold it like this, goblet style. So if you can do 10 reps and it's pretty easy, then you're gonna need to add on a weight. So do 10 to 12 reps on each side, 3 sets of each. Think about holding your core in and then driving up from your heel. So the next one is a hollow body hold. I'm gonna challenge you to 30 seconds to a minute. So set a timer, set it for a minute. And what we're gonna do is elevate our knees, our legs off the ground, and we're gonna just hold. So think about compressing your core, compressing all the muscles in your pelvis to sort of hug the spine. And we're just going to hold here. If you want to challenge yourself, go ahead and grab a weight, and we're just going to press up. And this is how it looks on the other side. Good. And we're at 15 more seconds. So think about keeping a straight line from your shoulders all the way through your hips and keeping a neutral spine. Ears are centered above your shoulders. Okay, we're at a minute. Good job. Okay, so this is your bonus move. If you have extra time, I would recommend adding on, we're gonna do a deadlift. Recommend adding it on after your side lunges, but I promised it would be 10 minutes. And sometimes for beginners, this is a tricky move to learn, but I'm gonna recommend everybody learn a basic deadlift because it's really practical for strengthening your entire posterior chain and just going through life, lessening your risk of injury. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking. So you're gonna space your feet shoulder width apart. And what you wanna think of, we're gonna start with a kettlebell because sometimes that's the easiest weight to track above your midfoot. So you're just gonna come down, pushing your hips back. It's a hip hinge. And you're gonna come down as far as you can. If your range of motion only allows you to go so far, that's fine. And then you're gonna just think about the weight tracking in a straight line, sort of in line with the midfoot. Your hips are hinging back. So this is not a squat. No. This is a hip hinge. And then you're using this to bring your pelvis forward. So what we're doing is we're hinging and we're coming forward. We're hinging our hips back, coming forward. We're using our glutes to pull the pelvis forward. What your upper body is doing. Your lats stay locked. So lock this in, bring your shoulders back, keep your ears centered above your shoulders, and you're sort of just gonna bow. So keep everything locked in. What I notice people doing is sort of once they get here, because they wanna bring the weight closer to the floor, they tend to do this. Don't do that. Just start off here, lock it in, lock your lats, and you're just gonna bow hips back and then hips forward. I like to tell my mother-in-law who we train with, just to think, konnichiwa. All right, so if you wanna get fancy, or if you're a little bit more advanced, what I would recommend is B stance and just do one leg at a time. You can do contralateral, which is the weight is in the opposite side of the body that's working. You can even do same side. It sort of hits the muscle a little bit differently. But this is for later. So beginners just sort of start out right here and think about the weight. It doesn't have to be a kettlebell, just any weight tracking up and down in a straight line. And that line is right where the midfoot is. Squeeze your butt at the top. So if you're having a hard time learning this movement, I would just recommend a really light weight. And then once you progress, we can go heavy.